On September 10 of last year, Utah Valley University became the epicenter of a national tragedy. Charlie Kirk, a prominent voice in conservative media and a close ally of former President Trump, was addressing thousands when a single, fatal shot rang out. The immediate aftermath was chaos, followed by a profound sense of shock across the political spectrum. This wasn't merely a crime. It was an attack on a public figure, raising urgent questions about the escalating tensions in American society and the vulnerability of those in the public eye. His death ignited fierce debate, with many demanding swift justice and a thorough investigation into what could motivate such an act of political violence. Within days, authorities apprehended 23-year-old Tyler Robinson, charging him with aggravated murder. Prosecutors alleged Robinson was the shooter, presenting initial evidence that pointed towards his involvement. However, the legal proceedings quickly became complex. Defense attorneys, led by Michael Burt, immediately questioned the reliability of critical forensic evidence, including DNA testing linking Robinson to the murder weapon. This early challenge signaled that the road to conviction would be anything but straightforward, setting the stage for a protracted legal battle where every piece of evidence, every witness statement, would be meticulously scrutinized. The most recent and potentially pivotal development centers on Lance Twiggs, Tyler Robinson's roommate and romantic partner at the time of the assassination. Law enforcement sources confirmed Twiggs was transitioning from male to female, adding another layer of personal complexity to the case. Prosecutors announced their intention to play redacted audio and video clips of interviews with Twiggs in open court. This testimony, gathered shortly after Kirk's death, is believed to contain crucial insights into Robinson's state of mind, his movements, and potentially his motives. Its introduction marks a significant escalation in the prosecution's strategy to secure a conviction. The decision to admit Twiggs' testimony was not made lightly. Defense lawyers vehemently opposed its public release, arguing that it would inevitably prejudice the case and undermine Robinson's right to a fair trial. Attorney Jeffrey Neiman, representing the state, countered by urging State District Judge Tony Graff to uphold judicial transparency, emphasizing the public's right to understand the evidence in such a high-stakes case. This clash highlights the delicate balance courts must strike between protecting due process and ensuring public accountability, especially when the proceedings involve a figure of national prominence. The judge's ruling ultimately favored transparency, albeit with necessary redactions. While the exact contents of Lance Twiggs' video testimony remain under wraps, speculation is rampant. Legal experts suggest it could cover a range of critical information, conversations with Robinson before or after the shooting, his demeanor, any expressed grievances, or even direct admissions. Given Twiggs' close relationship as a roommate and romantic partner, their interactions could provide an unparalleled window into Robinson's mindset and the events leading up to September 10. This isn't abstract forensic data, it's a deeply personal account that could humanize, or further condemn, the accused, profoundly influencing the jury's perception of intent. The assassination of Charlie Kirk transcends a typical criminal case. As a vocal conservative activist, his death inevitably carries significant political weight. This trial, and particularly the revelations from Twiggs' testimony, will be watched closely for any connections to broader political motivations or extremist ideologies. Such cases often become battlegrounds for competing narratives, with each side attempting to shape public perception. The court's proceedings, therefore, are not just about justice for Kirk, but also about the integrity of political discourse and the potential for violence in an increasingly polarized society. The stakes extend far beyond the courtroom walls. The defense's strategy against Twiggs' testimony will be crucial. They are likely to challenge its credibility, questioning Twiggs' state of mind during the interviews, potential biases, or any inconsistencies in their statements. Furthermore, the defense has already raised doubts about the FBI's DNA testing, suggesting they will pursue every avenue to discredit the prosecution's evidence. This aggressive defense aims to sow reasonable doubt, creating an alternative narrative that might explain Robinson's actions or, at the very least, muddy the waters surrounding the prosecution's claims. The courtroom will become a theater of competing truths. Beyond the direct testimony, text messages exchanged between Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs after Kirk was shot are also expected to be presented. Digital communications often provide unvarnished, real-time insights into a person's thoughts and actions. These messages could corroborate or contradict Twiggs' spoken testimony, adding another layer of verifiable evidence. In high-stakes cases, digital forensics can be as impactful as eyewitness accounts, offering an irrefutable timeline of events and emotional states. The convergence of personal testimony and digital records promises to paint a comprehensive, if potentially damning, picture. The public nature of this trial, amplified by intense media scrutiny, poses a significant challenge to ensuring a fair trial. Defense attorneys specifically cited concerns that public statements and the release of sensitive testimony could improperly influence potential jurors. In an age of instant news and social media, managing public perception is an integral, yet often problematic, aspect of high-profile legal proceedings. The judge's decision to redact parts of Twiggs' testimony reflects an attempt to balance public interest with the constitutional right to an impartial jury, a tightrope walk fraught with potential missteps. State District Judge Tony Graff faces the monumental task of determining if prosecutors have sufficient evidence to bring Tyler Robinson to trial for aggravated murder. His decisions regarding the admissibility and presentation of evidence, particularly Twiggs' testimony, will shape the entire trajectory of the case. This week's preliminary hearing is not just a procedural step, it's a crucible where the strength of the prosecution's argument will be tested against the defense's vigorous objections. The judge's role as an impartial arbiter, navigating complex legal arguments and public pressure, underscores the gravity of this judicial process. The playing of Lance Twiggs' video testimony marks a definitive turning point in the Charlie Kirk assassination case. It promises to deepen our understanding of the alleged perpetrator's motives and the events surrounding that fateful day. Whether it provides a clear motive, reveals a deeper conspiracy, or simply adds another layer of complexity, this evidence will be central to the prosecution's case. The outcome of this preliminary hearing, heavily influenced by this testimony, will not only determine Robinson's fate but will also contribute significantly to the broader societal narrative surrounding political violence and justice in America. Remember what we said at the start about the real motive behind Charlie Kirk's assassination. With Lance Twiggs' testimony now unveiled, the path to understanding that truth has become clearer than ever.